Now, adding style is all well and good when we do it inside of a tag, but it's not very, we'll call it, scalable. If you think about something like rockvalleycollege.edu, we could not make those individual style references in each one of our tags on each one of our pages because there are thousands of pages on rockvalleycollege.edu. Even if we don't think of it as being that big, it really genuinely is. What happens if we were managing a site like Yahoo or, ESPN or Twitter or any of that? If you think about it, there are hundreds of thousands or even tens of millions, or in the cases of things like Facebook and Twitter, there are billions of potential combinations of pages that we would have to manage. And that gets to be impossible because there's no one organization that can deploy enough people, you developers, in order to make all of those changes. So we have to rely on something outside of HTML to take care of that for us. And what we rely on is actually been here this whole time. It is CSS. So HTML would be like the chocolate or the peanut butter, and CSS would be the other one, right? So when you put them together, they make absolute magic. So the style sheet, this .css, is referenced right here on line number 9, and it is up in the head section and has been in the head section for all of our web pages to date. We've got link href, and that is just like it was before. We had an anchor href. This time we have a link href, and that's going to point to our style.css, which is over here. And it tells us our type, which is text dot or slash CSS. So what that is saying is, hey, look, when you are rendering this page, and this one happens to be formatting with CSS, when you're rendering this page, look to style.css for the style elements and look to the index.html in this case for the content elements. So what is this going to look like? So I've got here the formatting with color page. And remember, that's the one where we added the silver background. We had the background in the foreground here for our H3s. That's where we did all of our style, was in line. It was right here with this H3 element. It was right here on line 30 with this H3 element. It was right here on line 12 with our body element. But this time around, we're not going to do that. If I hit run, we're going to see I do have a little bit of formatting here, and we didn't do it in our HTML, which means we have to come over here and look at our style.css. Now, the mixed blessing here is CSS is a different language than HTML, so we do have to learn a little bit of new formatting here. So the first thing to know is whatever we want to change, we have to specify here. So I'm going to say H1. Now I don't have an H1. I do have an H1 formatting with color over here. And we're going to see that that's going to change in this next portion as we change it. So H1, I'm going to hit enter. Now what I need are opening and closing curly braces. The curly brace for me on this keyboard is one line up from the return, and it is next to the P. So all I do is hit shift and the button next to P on the right hand side, and I get the opening and closing curly brace here. Now everything inside of these curly braces is going to refer back to whatever the line on top of it is, and in this case it's H1. So I am going to change, just like we did in H3 with the color. So as I start to type, my properties show up there. So CO, and then the rest of color shows up. And I'm going to pick silver, and then I hit semicolon, and I hit enter, and I can add as many properties here as I would like. So I have background color. So if I go down through this list, you'll see background color. I find it. I just hit enter. It fills in with background color for me. Let's pick something obnoxious like red. There we go. So color means the text. So what we would see is the text here would be silver. Background color is everything behind that, and we would see that in red. So this should be retina-searingly terrible for our H1. So there is our background color, red, our foreground color, silver. Now remember, again, we could use a hexadecimal, an RGB, or an HSL color combination for that too, and we'll show that in just a second here. So we've got our color picker. We want to do something that looks a little less jarring maybe than that. So if we've got a silver foreground, let's pick a good color of blue for our background, something close to what RVC blue would look like. I think it's a little purplier than this. There we go. That looks RVC blue to me right here at 40%. So if I copy the hash 000cc, and we come back through here and into our style.css, instead of blue, we paste our color. There we go. Our background color is blue. You'll notice, you might have to really look at it to notice, but you'll notice that in my H1, so the bigger heading, my background color really is a different color blue than it is in my H3. We can do this with yellow also. So let's pick a more RVC-ish color of yellow. I am guessing we'll have to come through here. That's about right to me. So I'm going to color just to be a little bit different. We'll copy the RGB from here. So it's RGB 255, 255, 26. And I'm going to paste that here instead of silver. We paste that there. And when I run it, there we go. You'll see that formatting with color is a different color yellow than the color yellow I have here in my H3. So we're going to see more styling with CSS. Here's the great part about Replit. Here's the great part about all of these IDEs, these integrated developers environments. Once upon a time, I would have to travel around with a cheat sheet, a card. It was actually 4 laminated pages with a ring clip binder or a binder ring clip rather, in the upper left-hand corner. And when I needed to know what a property was that I could change in CSS or HTML, I would have to look it up there, or I would have to carry around a really thick book with me every time I was doing developing. Here, I don't have to get anywhere near that kind of memorization with me. I can always just start to fill it out here and rely on the IDE to do it for me. So I can rely on Replit to do it for me. So if I wanted to change anything else about the H1 here, I can just simply start typing it and it's going to work for me. So if I have an image, IMG, I can simply say IMG, and here's all the stuff I can change that are images. If I have OL, I can, inside of here, I'll start a new ordered list. We put them inside of our curly brackets, and if I have a list style type that I want, so those are the bulleted lists, I can change those from here. If I wanted to change color, I can just start typing color and change those from here. It's a really fantastic and easy way to make pretty significant impacts on the look and feel of your site. And we couldn't do it without the association of CSS with our HTML.